Hello, welcome to our special live streaming roundtable discussion of Ground Breakers for the 6th China International Import Expo in Shanghai. I'm Wu Lei. And over the past 3 Ground Breakers, we have talked about the consumption goods, food, foreign investment. We have invited several CEOs and presidents of multinational companies. And today, it's our great pleasure to talk about some hot topics in the industrial and manufacturing sector. And it's our great pleasure to invite 3 old friends of multinational companies of the CIIE. And they are Mr. Anu Ratint, President of Asia Pacific Johnson Controls, and also Cherry Zhu, the President of Greater China Company of Dow Incorporation, and also Dr. Rajat Agarwal, the President of Hanko Greater China. Thank you all for your time for joining us today.
Great to be
Thanks
here.
for
Great to be in your show.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
We are live streaming at our CGTN different social media platforms, talking about how to upgrade the global industrial chain in a greener way. And if you have any questions, please leave us comments. We're trying to answer your questions and through our social media platforms. And firstly, we want to talk about the CIIE because this is the 6th edition. All of you have participated in this expo for several times. So I want to know what new products have you brought this time, and what's your impression about the expo, especially this after pandemic. Most of the global CEOs have come back to Shanghai, and they have brought a lot of new solutions, new services to the consumers. So let's start, Ms. Anu.
Okay, thank you. Good to be here. And I think first of all, we participated the CIIE event 6 years in a row, and every time we bring in new technologies, and every time we see the excitement. Particularly this year, it's great to see the excitement, and first time having this after the pandemic. So Johnson Controls is in the business of making buildings smarter, healthier, and more sustainable. And with 40% of carbon emissions are coming from the buildings, there is no decarbonizing the world without decarbonizing the buildings. And I think with the China's dual carbon goals and sustainability and decarbonization goals, Johnson Controls' value proposition fits very well. This time we launched 2 brand new products that are designed and manufactured 100% in China. We also showcase our high efficient YZ chillers, the centrifugal chillers. I think that's what we show, that how we continue to drive our localization, continue to bring in that new technologies aligned with the Chinese market needs.
Great. So how about you, Cherry? What Dow Incorporation has brought to the market this time?
Sure. Thanks for having me today. Dow has been participating in the CIIE for 6 consecutive years. Our display mirrors our commitment towards sustainability and low carbon. We are showcasing nearly 50 industry-leading solutions and technologies. 11 of them this year are making their World, Asia Pacific, and China debuts.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes, and also this year we staged a plastic recycling campaign at this expo to support the CIIE's Zero to Carbon effort. We're showcasing Dow's strategy and solutions to address the pressing issue of plastic waste. In addition, we have signed 10 memorandum of understanding with customers and partners to enhance cooperations. You know, we are honored to have signed the first order of the first day in the CIIE this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is.
Which company?
With ZKH Group. Dow will provide a silicone product to ZKH valued at $300 million. And to be sold through their online platform. And we are working together as well to tap into burgeoning downstream applications like electronics, transportation, construction, etc.
Okay, so for Hanko, I remember that you were in the consumer goods pavilion, but this time you moved to the low carbon and industrial pavilion. So why is that? What new products have you brought this time?
So Wule, first of all, it's incredible to see the energy in this 6th Expo. It's our 5th time being here.
Yeah.
The foot traffic is nothing like I've ever seen before. So it's really great to see everybody coming back. And we are now in the industrial pavilion, and as a diversified multinational serving both the consumer and the industrial businesses. We put our theme this year as shaping a sustainable future through Henkel innovations. So we have 3 big items in the booth. So one is around new energy vehicles, how our solutions are enabling vehicles to grow faster through lighter weight construction, as well as the batteries to be assembled in a more safer manner and extending the life of a battery. So that's around sustainable mobility. Another one is around consumer electronics, where we have a new printed antenna technology which we are showcasing, which enhances 5G connectivity for all your mobile devices, while enabling a much faster rate of production of these devices with less waste. And thirdly, in the consumer side, where we do consume a lot of packaging for our Schwarzkopfer Persil products, we are showcasing how we are incorporating now up to 50% PET in our packaging to also reduce our CO2 footprint. So plenty of focus on sustainability, and I see this theme as gaining really a lot of traction across the CIIE.
Wow. And I remember that some of you have attended the opening ceremony, and I want to know what message impressed you most as this year, after the pandemic, most of the exhibitors come back, and also what trends have you observed? Today, the 3rd day of the CIIE. How is your first-hand feeling about the expo? What new trends have you observed?
I think it was great to attend the grand opening ceremony on Sunday morning, and the messages that we heard from the leaders about the continuous opening up and the high quality opening up, and making sure it's easy to do business and easy to bring in foreign investments and do that transaction. I think that was very easy and was very, very clear message. And I think I could observe among the business community while listening during the presentations as well as after that hey, sectors like, for example, manufacturing, how those sectors going to get easy for the foreign investments to come in and doing business and creation of new free trade zones, etc. And I think we saw that discussions around the sites as well after that. I think it's a time that those are becoming open topics and making, producing real results. So that's what I felt during the opening ceremony, and also I felt after that as well. And also as we talk about now the speed of innovation that is required and application of new technologies that is required to achieve the goals in China, and particularly the economic growth potential as well.
Great. And for Dow, I know that some of your executives from the headquarters have also come to Shanghai this time.
Yes.
And what's the message that impressed you most?
Yeah, on top of what Mr. Anu mentioned, I think China is on the journey towards high quality and more sustainable, and more sustainable development, and that actually provides more opportunity to the businesses, right, like us in China. And the Chinese market has increasingly strong demand for more sustainable solutions, such as the materials can be recycled. Material can with lower carbon footprint, bio-based materials, etc. Right, and these downstream market include electrical vehicles, batteries, more sustainable packaging, green technology for coating, green buildings, etc. Right, all these areas actually where Dow has strong expertise and solutions and partnership to contribute.
Great, and Dr. Roger, you have already made some interviews. I saw your videos several times. How do you feel about the expo right now? It's 3rd day.
So two big messages I would love to share is first one, it's really a commitment. CIIE is a commitment again for China being open to doing business with the rest of the world. So that's the first big message. The second one is also what Premier Li Qiang mentioned. There are more than 400 million middle-class consumers who are really powering a very high quality consumption trend. This number is going to go up in the next few years. Also, the disposable income of these consumers are going to go up. And they demand safer products, they demand more sustainable products. So it all fits with the trend of high quality consumption. So all of it plays for multinationals such as 3 of us sitting here, who can bring in technologies that we have developed either outside China or everything that we have innovated China, and to contribute to this high quality development.
Indeed, and we know that CIIE is not only a platform to showcase your products, but also a great opportunity to make new partners, new friends. So can you give us some examples of the CIIE boosting your collaboration with local partners or partners from around the world?
I think every time we came in, I think maybe some would take it as CIIE is an opportunity to showcase the new products. But I think our purpose goes much beyond that. The journey to sustainability, decarbonization, and quite frankly, making an important player in the entire ecosystem, it requires the interface with the ecosystems. And I think for us, the ability to interface with the government leaders, the institutions, the policymakers, the academia, customers, suppliers, and quite frankly the general public as well.
Exactly.
Getting all that done at that level of density in such a short period of time is the biggest benefit. So speaking about the specific the business relationships or specific business values, in past CIEs we met. We had discussions about this China launching its own locally built large cruise ship, Adora, the Magic City.
Yeah.
And,
that's a big
big
one.
cruise that was actually launched last Saturday here in Shanghai.
Exactly.
And we supply the entire HVAC system. And
Really?
those discussions started during the past CIIEs.
Okay.
And at the same time, for example, the recently wrapped up the Asian Games in Hangzhou.
Yeah.
And we provided our solutions to many of the venues. So those, I think this is just to name examples.
The smart buildings.
The smart building solutions. So just one more example. And yesterday I was in our booth, and we hosted one of the leaders, and he had a meeting with us that, hey, in our industrial park, we have over 50 companies, and we want to demonstrate that how we get all these 50 buildings decarbonized and a net zero.
That's their goal.
That's their goal. And they want Johnson Controls to partner with, because everybody has the goal to make their buildings net zero.
Yeah.
But Johnson Controls is the solution provider.
Okay.
So we got 50 companies who needs to do that in the very same location. And we got the leaders who want to facilitate that. And how would Johnson Controls bringing in solutions and demonstrate their capability of doing it. I think it's just amazing to see the level of engagement that we are having in these sessions, and that creates so much motivation. I think, yes, business is important. It's much more than that. It's really making a genuine impact to the society is much bigger purpose.
Exactly. What about Dow?
For Dow, I think the CIIE is not only a platform to showcase our latest technology and solutions, but also a unique platform to interact and communicate with our customers, partners, and governments at the same time, right? We have strengths in innovation. We want to have the right communication on low carbon industry upgrades topics with our customers, and CIIE provide that platform for us to connect so as to, ensure a close match of our innovation capability with a local market demand needs, right, to provide the right product. And also, I think it's a great platform for us to call on, like Anu mentioned, the across value chain collaboration, particularly towards big goals of sustainability. For example, yesterday we have signed an MOU partnership with the China National Resource Recycling Association. That partnership also involves other brands like P&G, Mars, PepsiCo, Amcor Group, etc. The partners, call on to educate the consumer education and also explore a China-specific recycling system for flexible packages.
Across China or in a specific province?
In China.
In China.
Yes, with all these brands from the waste collection and how we treat them and find the reusable application, recyclable applications, and with brand owners, support and launch the market, right? And also the education of the consumers. So it's really everyone along the value chain's effort to make it happen.
Yeah.
And CIIE provides a great platform for us to engage all these key stakeholders, right, and sign strategic cooperation agreement.
Yeah. You can see all of your suppliers, partners,
Yeah.
in these different pavilions.
Exactly.
Yeah, very much so. This seems to be the theme of the CIIE.
Yeah.
So this morning we had a very important meeting with the China Packaging Federation, who plays a very big role in enabling circularity and recycling of both industrial and consumer packaging.
Yeah.
So we were recognized as a contributor in this whole value chain of packaging, and similar to Sherry, what you've experienced, now it's about building a full ecosystem end to end, because no one person can solve this challenge alone.
Right.
And CIIE does provide a very good place for all the partners to meet together.
Yes.
So really good to be here, and looking forward to another couple of productive days.
Yeah. I think we talked about the role of CIIE boosting collaboration, but today our topic focuses on industrial chain. We know that all of you are in the manufacturing sector. You have a long production line or supply chain, and China has reiterated to promote the green and sustainable development during the just concluded Belt and Road Forum in Beijing in October. So how is your company working with a lot of partners in China and across the world to boost and create that sustainable growth? Can you give us some examples?
I think the equation to sustainability, net zero, I think it is three factors. The first is the efficiency, second is the electrification, third is the digitalization.
Digitalization.
So if you think of, for example, the advanced manufacturing that you just mentioned, having the high efficient equipments. So whether it could be like the machines that the production shop floor is using. So high efficiency means low energy consumption. So and at the same time, the building equipment as well, that equipment that is used for heating, ventilation, air conditioning, the security control and so on. So having that equipment upgraded to high efficiency is required. The second element is on the digitalization and the electrification. And all these devices, the machines, having the IoT devices and connect them. And then you can, once you connect them, you can get data. And then with the big data and AI, you can actually, with the digitalization, you can predict and create the best outcome, creating lower the downtime, and that helps in a low resource utilization, low energy utilization, and ultimately getting to the digital equation. So what Johnson Controls offer in a building, because if you look at any supply chain, everyone is somewhere doing the manufacturing or some process. So that's where we bring in the advanced technologies on the building equipment. So we have the broadest product portfolio, and then we connect them with the IoT devices and collect data, and then we use AI to ultimately get the autonomous buildings, for example.
Digital solutions.
Digital solutions. So the buildings are autonomous and autonomously finding out the best operating conditions to provide achieve the net zero capability. So I think that's the equation, and Johnson Controls is committed to achieve our type 1 and type 2 carbon reductions by 2040. That's 10 years ahead of the Paris Agreement. And we're also helping our customers achieve the same goals as well with our solutions that we're bringing in.
Okay. Let me start with Dr. Roger first, because you have been in China also for several years, and also how do you think that we can create a more sustainable chains in the sector?
So many years, 50 years,
50
years, and we have 10 manufacturing locations. So one example is on using green energy for all our factories. So over the solar,
energies.
and we have installed solar panels on all our factories. And over the last few years, this was a concerted effort, and we received also very good support from all the industry parks where we operate. And today, I'm proud to say this year we have achieved 100% green electricity sourcing for all our manufacturing in China.
Oh, really?
So this is done, and we are the first country in the world to achieve it for the Henkel Group. And we continue to look for ways to, while adding capacity, reducing our CO2 emissions, reducing our wastewater and solid waste as well. And we are committed to being, by 2030, fully carbon neutral in our manufacturing for the Henkel Group, which is in line with the carbon neutrality.
Yeah, the goal in China,
Yes.
2030.
So tough but achievable, and the ecosystem here continues to develop quite rapidly.
Yeah. And how about Cherry?
Yes, I think Dow also have the carbon neutral target goal by 2050. You know, 2050. So I think
Globally or
globally,
okay.
Including China, which is the second biggest market for us. So align with very well the China nationals goal, right? The 2 carbon goal we know.
Yeah.
And as a global material science leader, I would highlight, you know, the role of China playing as a more and more a innovation leader we see. Because we see China is leading in many industries these days, such as new energy vehicles, right, batteries, and then e-commerce, etc. Right, and those areas actually, you know, Dow can provide many material science solutions to help to drive a more sustainable future. Particularly in this CIIE, we're also showcasing a lot of materials that can be used to enable new EV cars more safer, more sustainable, more efficient, and more comfortable.
Great. And this question, I think it can be more for Johnson Controls and Dawes, because both of your companies are headquartered in the United States, right?
Yes.
And we know that economic cooperation between the two nations are one of the top concerns right now. APEC meeting will be held very soon in the United States. Global leaders, economic experts will be there. Collaboration will be a key topic. So American and Chinese markets, they pay a lot of attention to the sustainable growth. So in your opinion and experience, you have been here for decades. How do you think that the companies from China and American can work together closely to provide more solutions for the world?
I think, like you correctly said, we've been here for 30 years, and we operating with our capabilities that we have with 10 manufacturing plants, over 8,000 colleagues, and 3 R&D centers. I think we operating as good as a local company when it comes to how we run our operations and how we manage it. And we started bringing in technologies as we started coming into to China earlier, but now we're developing products in China that is catered for Chinese market. It's getting matured and grown up, and it requires dedicated products that are designed for China, in China manufactured. So we have that. And at the same time, we also bringing in the capabilities of the innovation and the speed to global markets as well from China. So I think in terms of collaboration between the US and China in our operation, it continues to play a very, very important role. I think these markets both markets are very big, and so is other markets that we serve as well. It continues to require that collaboration, that where we have the best local flexibility and localization that is required to serve each of the market, but at the same time we can't be spending these high capital intensive designs everywhere as well. So it's required that using the common platforms and using the common innovations as much as possible, and driving localization as well. I think that's what we're doing. So I think we as business leaders, we have a very important role to play in making sure that we continue to keep our business very sustainable.
That's a great point. Jerry?
Yeah, Dow started its presence in China in 1979. So over the past 40 years, we have established our R&D, manufacturing and service network in China. And today, China has become Dow's second biggest market in the world. So our business has embraced new opportunity in China in the last many years and committed to more, right, coming. So to us, our growth strategy in Great China is really to go local, go specialty, leveraging Dow's global resources and expertise, also utilizing our well-established local capability. understanding the local demand and needs, and come up with, tailor-made solutions for the local customer, right? In the prioritized market side. So this is how we do business here. And certainly we wish, U.S.-China have a constructive relationship. So we feel very encouraged to see some positive movements in the recent days.
Exactly, we need to move forward.
Yes.
And also, both of you have just mentioned the strategy of in China for China. But in recent years, I have heard that many countries are talking about in China for global, not only for Chinese market, but the collaboration between the local partners are now playing a bigger role for the global market.
Yes.
So what's Henkel's strategy here in China, long-term strategy?
So long-term strategy, for example, give you one. So we continue to build capabilities, whether it's in manufacturing, whether it's in innovation, whether it's in supply chain for China and for the world. Give you a specific example. We are in the middle of the construction of our Inspiration Center in Shanghai.
Inspiration Center.
Inspiration Center.
Okay.
So we call it Inspiration.
It's not Innovation Center.
We go beyond. We go beyond innovation.
Okay.
And there's a purpose, deeper purpose, because we want to interact with a lot of our customers and co-create with our customers at this Inspiration Center. So we opened our first one last year in our headquarters in Düsseldorf, and the second one, and this will be our second largest one as well in the world, will be opening up next year in Shanghai. So these are not only focused for China, they are focused, of course, first for the domestic market. However, inspiration and innovation does not know any boundaries. So as the economy is continuing to mature, as there is more and more high quality development, we also want to bring the best of these innovations to the entire world, so we can derive the maximum benefit.
That's great. We're looking forward to the opening of your Inspiration Center.
Yes.
And we know that for the multinational companies, you all have production lines and manufacturing centers in different countries. We want to know how special is the Chinese, manufacturing and innovation center? How special is that in your global scale? What's the role of your Chinese manufacturing and innovation center play in the global market?
Oh, I think that's a great question. And I first came to China 26 years ago, and in between I lived in China and outside, but now I'm 8 years here. I think if you look at like early 2000, like until let's say 2000 to 2015, 18 time frame, China had exponential growth and volume took the priority. And China was able to, Chinese factories were able to quickly ramp up and benefit from this exponential growth that we saw. And then after that, China becoming a mature market, growth rate is maybe slightly lower than what it used to be, but it is the customers are getting matured, they're demanding higher quality and better products. And with that, the innovation came in. So I think if you look at these two in China, I believe they are second to none. So the speed and the innovation. I think if you look at many segments, for example, the automotive industry, you can see how well the local OEMs are coming up, how quickly they're coming up, and how good their products are. And I think that's just an example of when it comes to innovation and the speed, how well China is positioned. And if you probably talk to many international companies, they will say their China operations are probably the best, or if not one of the best in terms of how well they run the innovation, how well they do the program management, how well they run the factories. I think that's a very competitive advantage. I think that's probably where the government policies of not just China becoming a low-cost manufacturer for the world. Let's upgrade the talent. Let's provide opportunities or policy and support for innovation to truly position as a world leader. I think it's working out very well, and that's my experience.
Speed, innovation,
absolutely,
talents.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dow has the Shanghai Dow Center, which is the largest R&D center outside the U.S. in the world. And also we have the Zhangjiagang manufacturing site with 10 plants there, equipped with a high standard, our global standard. So I would say from standard perspective, a very global standard, world art class. Now, the difference really here in the country, such like China, I think there are several strengths in China we see. One is a huge potential with the largest number of consumers, like Dr. Ajay's mentioned, and then also the most comprehensive or complete value chain establishment in China, right?
Most comprehensive
value chain, you know, established in China. The third point is really the talent that we as business can tap on. All those, right, give us the environment to operate much more efficiently. The speed of innovation, we definitely see that. And customers in China much more open. You know, the number of customers are much more versus US or Europe, right? Okay. I mean, so we have many, you know, customers in China who are keen to innovate, to work with us. So give us opportunity to show and work with them to come up with new innovations. The trend we see here in China is really the innovation from China for China, and also now going to the region, Asia Pacific, even to Mexico and the rest of the world more and more.
This experience can be replicated, or at least for reference for other markets.
Exactly.
Dr. Roger?
Yeah, just to add on digitalization, for example.
Digitalization.
So we've been working to digitalize our manufacturing operations across the world. And as you mentioned, China provides such a complete ecosystem that we can drive manufacturing modernization in our own plants at an incredible rate in China. Also, the workforce is very affine to changes.
Yes.
So today, our factories here are some of the most modern in our global network, and some of them serve as now role models or benchmarks around which we can scale the rest of the factories. So that's the benefit of having a very complete ecosystem available.
Ecosystem, especially the digitalization.
Correct.
I think China now has the largest digitalization across the world.
Correct.
5G, AI, these kind of new technologies have been applied in different sectors.
Yes.
And Cherry just mentioned about the consumer part. I want to know that, especially for Henkel, you have a large number of consumer goods and also in the manufacturing side. Over the past decades, what trend have you observed for the consumers? You know, the younger generation, the aging population, different demands from the consumer sector. So what have you observed?
So the consumers in China are some of the most sophisticated consumers anywhere in the world. There's data showing they spend far more time researching the products they buy than any other consumer in the world. So a consumer in China is very well informed, which means we have to take great responsibility to provide that information that they are seeking. And they're also seeking innovative products. They are willing to experiment with new products and new functionalities. So for example, in our hair care business, where we have styling products and hair coloration products, we are innovating very fast locally with professional hairdressers for new hair colors, which may be very unique to China.
Oh, specifically for Chinese market?
Yes. So there's a fast emerging concept of C beauty.
C beauty.
Just like we had the J beauty and the K beauty for Japanese and Korean trends, and now there's a fast emerging trend of C beauty, and so on. So there are lots of very exciting and interesting emerging trends in China, where if you are present here and you have a good skilled workforce who is innovating in real time, it's full of very exciting opportunities in that case.
Okay, and for Johnson Controls, I know most of your customers are, you know, big companies, like some state-owned companies. And how do you think about the changes over the past decades, the consumer part?
I think the level of upgrade that the consumers that we see, I mean, it's no longer about the availability, for example. It's given. So we need to provide the products at the time required, but the questions that they ask and we know they're looking for is...
But the demand is changing.
The demand is changing, and the demanding, and rightly so. I think, you know, for example, historically, people, I mean, I've been living in automotive industry for a very long time, and I always used to say that I love to have a German customer because who pushed me for the technology, and I love to have a Japanese customer who pushed me for quality. So that's how I said when I was in automotive industry. But in China, I see that China, they got both now. So they got both. They're pushing us for better technology. They're pushing us for better quality, and I think this is great. I think this is going to help companies become better. So Chinese consumers are demanding, and rightly so, because and also I think the value systems that they have as well in terms of getting to decarbonization, in terms of becoming an important player in the society. So your ESG practices. So I think these are becoming very important things for Chinese consumers now as we deal with the large players. Quite frankly, even on our employee base as well. I think employees want to work for a company that truly focus on making the society a better place.
Yeah.
So I think we've seen that on the young generation employees when they look for an employer who they want to work for. Is a company truly driven by the purpose, and we've seen that in the changes in our consumers, our customers as well.
That's why we have to provide them with better services and solutions,
Absolutely.
especially for the large number of aging population. And both of you just mentioned about China made the commitment of hitting the peak of carbon neutrality by 2030 and also carbon neutrality by 2060. Peak of carbon emissions by 2030
Right.
and carbon neutrality by 2060. And what opportunities do you see for these multinational companies, Cherry?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we also have our sustainability goal, right? And this China's strive towards these carbon neutrality opportunity boosts a lot of new emerging applications and industries, like the new energy vehicles, PV panels, wind energy, new energy transitions, right? And then consumer upgrades as well, because one of the consumer trend change that we notice is the younger generation definitely look for more sustainable solution and products.
Yeah.
They are much more open to more environmental friendly products, right? So as I mentioned, as a material-based, science-based company, we have more safer material, recyclable material, bio-based, to support those new energy batteries, right? PV panels, we have encapsulation films for those solutions, right? So we have lots of new opportunities actually, I think, unlocked by these emerging sustainable industry coming, supported or driven by the 2 carbon goals in China.
Dr. Raj?
So we provide several products to our customers which influence their manufacturing operations. And at Henkel, the amount of our own CO2 emissions actually much smaller compared to what we can influence to our customers and consumers. So our focus is exactly in those areas as well, to provide solutions that can run enable them to run their manufacturing operations in a much leaner way. And we also have a lot of products which enable a different kind of a product design, so that, for example, a package which was in the past may not be recyclable, is today recyclable. And these are the big swings that we expect to make in the next few years to transition to much more circular economy.
Yeah.
And Mr. Anu, do you have anything to add
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
the dual carbon goals?
Absolutely. I think the carbon peak before 2030 and carbon neutrality before 2060, I think just think of like a high densely cities like Shanghai, for example. Because Shanghai still need more factories, need more buildings as the economy grows. But we probably can't afford that carbon budget to do that, to achieve that carbon neutrality, unless you reduce the carbon on the existing buildings, for example, right? Imagine 40% of the carbon emission coming from the buildings, but many of the buildings in cities like Shanghai, for example, these buildings are probably 20 years old, 30, 40 years old, and the equipment that is installed are old. So there is an immediate need, and companies are now, they're retrofitting, because you can't demolish the building and rebuild it. So instead, they're installing the high efficient equipments that we provide on the building equipment, and that has the IoT, the connectivity, and then the digital platforms. So retrofitting is a major opportunity for us. Retrofitting is a major opportunity for us. We are heavily focused at the same time for the new buildings, providing the high efficient new technology already. So the new technologies are being applied in the new buildings. At the same time, the old buildings getting retrofitted. So it's a major opportunity for us.
Great. And we talked about the importance of long-term investment. And we want to know that it's pretty much about the end of the year, November. I want to know that how will be your next few years investing and marketing plan in China? Do you have any specific solutions or plans for the next few years in the China market?
I think, Rajat, you mentioned earlier about hundreds of millions that is getting to middle class, and even within middle class is going up. I think what all this is going to show is the growth potential in China, right? And I think WTO recently mentioned that China is fastest recovering economies as well. So I think with all that, the growth is there and the opportunities are there. And we talked earlier about the customers, the consumers are getting demanding and asking better technologies, better products, truly purpose-driven organizations to do business with. I think with all that, we're seeing great opportunities for growth. And with great opportunities for growth, I think that's required for any organization to be successful in China, to bringing in that innovation. But frankly, it's not just bringing in, it's about creating that. It is about creating that inspiration. and it is about innovating here. Right, and with the speed that China is providing, and it is required to invest on those innovations, and it's required to invest on the manufacturing, required to invest on the people. So I think it is continually going to happen, and Johnson Control is very much committed for China and be part of that growth.
Great. What about Dao? Will you increase your investment, or will you adjust the direction of your investment in China?
As I mentioned earlier, China has become Dow's second largest market in the world. We are very committed to this market continuously. We are also convinced by hearing from the Chinese government's commitment towards high standard opening up, and also commitment to improving the business environment for us, right? So Dow has been implementing our business growth projects, and to increase capacity and expand our product lines in the last several decades. Just this year we launched a project expansion in Zhangjiagang site. That marks the 19 projects or expansion in our Zhangjiagang site. We have been landing new project or project expansion approximately every 18 months since 2002.
Wow, every 18 months?
Every 18 months, new line or expansion.
That's a very impressive number.
We're very proud that, we continue to do that. So if you ask me for the future, we're going to, as I said, stay committed to the market, find the strategic market that we see the opportunities, and enhance our capabilities continuously like we did before. And also, same time, I think even enhancing the collaboration between the China team and our global resources altogether. In China, not only for China, but I think it will help the region and even bring some of the innovation to the rest of the world.
The global market.
Yes.
Dr. Roger?
So China's market economy is big. It's vast, it's diverse, it does afford opportunities for future growth. So we just did a groundbreaking in June for a new factory in the Yanta Economic Development Area in Shandong Province. So once completed, this factory will be one of our most modern factories in the world, and we are going to be producing here adhesives to serve lots of the kinds of components that Johnson Control produces for industrial appliances, industrial manufacturing, maintenance, repair, overhaul, electronics, and so on. So that's our plan going forward, and I just don't want to duplicate everything that has been said.
Yeah, that's great. I think we still have one last question for all of you. Today we talked about the global industrial chain, the importance of different markets. Let's talk about the very key message. How important is free trade and global collaboration in your global market growth?
I think it's a very much required collaboration. I think with the innovation that is going on and the investments that is required and having a fair competition And I think collaboration is the only answer in my view. I think it's no longer winner takes all game.
Yeah.
It's no longer that one company, because I mean, let's not forget that the climate challenge that we're facing is the biggest challenge that our generation face. And if we do not solve this problem, the future generations are going to hold us accountable.
Yeah.
And we can't be feeling good about it. So solving these problems cannot be done by one company, one organization, quite frankly, one country.
One market,
So it requires all of us to work together.
Right.
It requires the free trade. It requires the collaboration. It requires all of us to work together.
Sorry.
Yeah, as a global company, Dow has been advocating for free and fair trade and multifaceted, economic cooperations between companies and governments and, nations even, right? I think, the free trade really is the lifeblood, I would say, of this recovering world after pandemic. Right, we cannot overstate its importance. It just enables efficient flow of service, goods, capitals across borders, and nurturing competition. And at the end of the day, really drive innovation, better pricing, better quality. Right. So this dynamism is critical for the economies to strive for bounce back and rebuild, rejuvenate right from the pandemic. So definitely.
Since China's accession to the WTO many years ago, we have seen that how a free trade order in the world has lifted millions of people out of poverty. It has also given energy to innovation. So what do we see? Finally, actually, consumer benefits because they benefit from a whole set of new products and services that all the companies can create, and they can use and bring these products to any place in the world.
That's indeed, that's pretty true for that's why we are coming here, the CIIE.
Yes.
It's a collaboration, all the world consumers benefit from this kind of collaboration. We know that smart buildings, sustainable materials, new technologies are reshaping our world today.
Yeah.
And we can buy these things, the consumer goods, for our home furniture or electronic appliances. Consumers can thinking more about eco-friendly, and I think that we can even pay more for these eco-friendly consumer goods. And that's why multinational companies need to further upgrade the production line in a greener and smarter way. And that is why more and more global companies have established the research and development centers in China and across the world. They are enhancing the collaboration between different countries and regions to provide more sustainable and innovative products to consumers around the world. And I think as many exhibitors for the CIIE recently, there are still 3 days for the CIIE. We talked with many of them. They said a high-level openness and also collaborative solutions will benefit all the consumers around the world. And I think that's pretty much for our roundtable today. And thank you all for your time. And thanks for our guests, and also wish every multinational company will have a fruitful and also collaborative expectation for this CIIE, and we are hoping to see you next year.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.